welcome to Real Life with Lisa. I'm Lisa Jacobson from Club31Women.com. I am the wife of Matthew L. Jacobson and the mother of 8 lovely children. And today, what we're going to be talking about is fear and courage. So how do you find courage when you're feeling afraid? So the reason that I've been thinking about this was earlier this week, I had a dear young friend call me up, and she lives in another state, and she was talking to me about some things, and I could hear it in her voice that she was upset about something. And so we talked about this, and we talked about that, and I knew we weren't really getting to the real issue that she was struggling with. And then finally, she admitted that she was struggling with fear. It was a specific kind of fear. And I think she was afraid to tell me because I think she thought I would either think she was ridiculous or that I would laugh at her or that I'm never afraid of anything. And I was able to easily tell her that I totally get fear and I wish I didn't struggle with fear, but I do. And in particular, what the story I told her was about when I was, and I still have fears today, but this is something happened when I was a younger mom. I had small children and my husband traveled for his work, and he traveled for days, weeks at a time. And are you ready for this? I was really afraid of sleeping alone at night. I don't know why. And I recognized that I was a grown woman in my 30s, and I had no reason to be afraid. I had not had a bad experience, but it was like I was, like a 5-year-old. And as soon as it got dark, my heart started pounding and I was terrified. I'd go around, I'd lock all the doors. And I remember sleeping with the phone in my bed, and I'd bring all my kids and sleep in the room with me. And I knew it was unreasonable. I knew it was actually wrong in the sense of inappropriate, and that my children needed to look to me for confidence. And if mommy's afraid of the dark, it wasn't that I was afraid of the dark, but you get what I'm saying, then obviously they would pick up on those fears too. So I told my friend about that, and she just, she had a huge sense of relief that I knew what it was like to be afraid. But even better yet, I was able to encourage her about ways that I overcame that fear. And, in my case, I think it was a slow overcoming. I wish it would have been overnight and I would have just been magically relieved from this strange fear that I had. But there were some things I specifically did, and over time, that those fears were relieved. Until recently, I was thinking about my husband who had gone on a trip last week, and I thought, that's funny. I am no longer afraid, and I don't even think about it anymore, and how far I had come in conquering that fear. So if you have a hidden fear in your life, first of all, I'm going to encourage you not to have it hidden, because I think a lot of times there's power in that fear being hidden. And just like in the case of my young friend, by her just admitting to me that was something she struggled with, and just getting that off her chest, she texted me a little bit later and she said, you know what, I just feel better already. I just feel this huge weight lifted from me. And just having shared that with you, and then I had shared a few things with her that I want to share with you today as well. And that's about how to find courage when all you feel is fear. Okay, so the first thing is to remember you are not alone. And I think, like when I think back to those nights when I was so terrified, I felt all alone, but I wasn't alone. And I'll tell you why I know that. It's because in the Bible, it says in Isaiah 41:10, "Fear not, for I am with you." This is God Almighty himself speaking. The creator of the universe is with you. "Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." And that was a verse that I put right by my bed, and I'd shine my little flashlight on it and just stare at it at night and remind myself that he is telling me, God himself is telling me, I will help you. I will be there with you. So you are not alone. Secondly, call on the Lord. It says in Psalm 34:4, I sought the Lord. So I went and I looked for the Lord, and he called out to him, and he answered me and delivered me from all my fears. Isn't that, I think we forget that he is our deliverer. He can deliver you from those fears. And by just laying there at night, in my case, and calling out to God saying, deliver me from my fears, slowly, quietly, I could feel this peace coming over me and knowing that I was not alone and that God was with me. Okay, and then thirdly, take courage from believing what's true. So in 2 Timothy 1:7, it says, for God gave us not a spirit of fear, so that's not from him, but of power and of love and of self-control. So that spirit of fear, it's not from him, that's from the enemy. And I think we need to remember that. I was also remembering when I was preparing to share with you today about several years ago, we had one of our younger boys was really struggling with fear. He was afraid of the dark. Imagine that. And his older sister took that verse and she printed it out for him and then framed it in one of those just cheap, dollar store kind of frames and put it right by his bed on his bunk bed. And he just treasured that. And he told me that he would look at that every night before he went to bed, and he would look at it in the morning, and how much confidence that gave him to remind him that we do not have a spirit of fear. So take courage in believing what's true, and remember you are not alone, and call on God when you are struggling with fears. And those fears, I know that they can take any kind of shape. I told you about a story when I was a mom with young children. As my children have gotten older, you would think it'd get better, easier, right? But as my children get older and they travel and they put themselves in dangerous situations, I am filled with fear for them. And I have to go through all these steps all over again and remind myself what is true, what is right, and remember that God is with me and God is with my children. So let me close with this blessing. Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened. And do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Joshua 1:9. So, thank you for coming over today. And I would love to hear from you, hear what's on your heart and mind. And if you're feeling brave and want to share some of the things that you are afraid of, or things that God has delivered you, the kinds of things that you used to be afraid of, I would love for you to share in the comments below. Also, if you are not subscribed to Club 31 Women, it's easy to do. All you do is give your email, and there's a little spot below the video here down at the bottom of the blog post. And in exchange, what you'll get, once you've confirmed your email, you'll get several free, encouraging and inspiring articles straight into your inbox every week. And as an extra thank you gift, I offer 2 free ebooks, one on marriage, one on parenting. And in case you're neither married and or don't have children, there's also a lovely print of the calligraphy of some verses from Proverbs 31 that I think you'll love. So thank you for coming today, and thank you for sharing real life together. God bless.